The film is set 300 years after a global war, which left the Earth in ruins. A spaceship, carrying people from different nations, is found to be dumping waste on Earth. Among the trash, a scientist discovers a unique robot, a blend of human and machine. In an event known as the Fall, Dr. Ito, a cyber surgeon, stumbles upon a cyborg in Iron City's junkyard. Ito takes it home for repairs. Upon awakening, the cyborg is fascinated by her new form. She rises on unsteady legs and gazes at her reflection in awe. The cyborg cautiously descends the stairs to meet her saviors. Ito, checking for any malfunctions, finds her only complaint to be hunger. As he assists her with an orange, she questions if they know each other and who she is. Her lack of memories brings her to tears, but Ito comforts her, promising that they will return in time. Ito introduces her to the outside world, where she is captivated by the floating city, Zalem. When she inquires about her name, he names her Alita. As they explore Iron City, Ito explains that it's a refuge for people post-war, but entry to Zalem is forbidden. Alita spots a TV show, Motorball, but Ito dismissed it as uninteresting. Left alone with her meal, Alita shares it with a stray dog and notices a poster for a wanted murderer. When a large police robot, a Centurion, approaches, Alita prepares to fight. Hugo intervenes, pushing her to safety, but Alita rushes back to shield the dog. Impressed, Hugo recognizes her as a cyborg. Upon Ito's return, he explains Alita's newness to the area. As Hugo departs, Alita watches him, even as Ito guides her away. That night, an unseen assailant attacks a woman. Alita awakens to find Ito returning home with a bloodied arm. The next day, she observes him at work and notices his injury. Their cyborg patient reveals he's been targeted by body part thieves and mentions the serial killer, prompting Ito to caution Alita. Outside, Alita encounters Shirin, who scrutinizes her curiously. Feeling uncomfortable, Alita leaves. Shirin later confronts Ito about Alita, pointing out that she's using their late daughter's body. She suggests that Ito hasn't moved on from their child's memory. Shirin proposes a partnership to train motorball champions, hoping to earn enough to return to Zalem with Vector's help. Ito, however, rejects the idea, believing there's no way back to Zalem. Meanwhile, Alita stumbles upon Hugo and his friends playing motorball and is invited to join. Alita finds it challenging to keep pace in the game and crashes into a pole. When she attempts to score, Tanji tackles her and takes the ball. Undeterred, Alita trips Tanji, retrieves the ball, and scores. Hugo then offers her a ride home. As they grow closer, Hugo introduces her to Zapan, a hunter-warrior bounty hunter whose sword intrigues Alita. The following day, Hugo shows Alita a hidden spot with a view of Zalem. He dreams of living there and suggests that Alita, found in the scrapyard, must have originated from Zalem. One evening, Alita spots Ito leaving and decides to follow him. She observes him preparing to confront a mysterious woman, but they are ambushed by Gruishka and Romo. Despite being outnumbered, Alita defies Ito's orders to flee and instead fights back, killing Romo. Meanwhile, Ito struggles against Gruishka and is thrown aside. Alita, after a series of evasive maneuvers, manages to injure Nisiana and Gruishka, who then retreats. During the fight, Alita experiences a flashback of a past battle. Following a confrontation, Ito collects a bounty on Nisiana, which he uses to fund free repairs at his clinic. When Alita questions him about her past, Ito reveals that she was named after his late daughter, for whom he had built a cyborg body due to her disability. Tragically, his daughter was killed by a deranged patient, leading Ito to seek revenge and become a hunter-warrior. He also discloses that Alita's heart contains an antimatter microreactor, capable of powering Iron City for several years. Ito deduces that Alita, given her advanced technology, must be over 300 years old. Meanwhile, Vector instructs Shirin to create motorball champions. When Gruishka, severely injured, requests repairs, Shirin initially refuses, but reconsiders after learning Alita was responsible for his condition. The next day, Shirin discovers Gruishka is wired to Nova, a powerful Zalem scientist. Upon learning of Alita's strength and her knowledge of Panzer-cursed fighting techniques, Nova orders Shirin to repair Gruishka to capture Alita. Nova then promises Shirin a place in Zalem in return for her cooperation. Ido and Alita find out that Grishka is no longer on the bounty list, suggesting he has protection. Alita, eager to regain her memories, wants to become a hunter warrior, but Ido disapproves. Upset, Alita leaves and joins Hugo in a motorball game, where she learns that the ultimate champion is granted access to Zalem. During the match, Shirin takes note of a player named Kanuba and his weapon, the grind cutter. Hugo and Tanji abruptly leave due to an urgent matter. Later, Kanuba is attacked by masked motorcyclists and is eventually captured. As the team dismantles Kanuba, Vector praises their work. Hugo, unmasking himself, reveals that he and his friends were the masked attackers. Vector compensates them and instructs them to deliver the parts to Shirin. Later, Vector eliminates Kanuba. The following day, Hugo and his crew escort Alita beyond the city limits. They describe the devastation of the war outside Iron City, where all sky cities, except Zalem, fell in conflict with the United Republic of Mars, ERM. They show Alita a submerged ERM warship to jog her memory. Recognizing it, she ventures inside. Navigating through the wrecked ship, she finds a control board in a room with a large orb, which reveals an untouched cyborg body. Alita brings the body to Ido, requesting him to replace her current body with it. Ido declines, leading Alita to infer that she must have been a warrior as the warship responded to her. Ido eventually discloses that she is an ERM Berserker, a highly advanced cyborg weapon, which is why he refuses to merge her with the body. Distressed, Alita leaves and enrolls as a hunter, seeking self-discovery. She later frequents a bounty hunter's bar with Hugo. Zappen spots her and warns her about the kill competition. Unfazed, Alita requests the hunter warrior's help to defeat Ruiska, but is met with mockery. Zappen offers to train Alita arrogantly, but she declines, not wanting to train with someone who wastes all his wealth on looks. Insulted, Zappen threatens Alita, who simply laughs it off. When he attempts to seize her, she quickly slams his head onto a table. As Zappen counterattacks with his blade, Alita repels him. Speaking to the hunter warriors, Alita voices her disdain for Iron City's so-called heroes. She dares them all, stating they must back her cause if she beats them. She instigates a brawl by splashing their drinks onto their faces. As Alita is about to be hit, Hugo steps in by tasing the assailant. Ido arrives and tries to mediate. He cautions that he will stop providing free repairs, effectively ending the fight. Suddenly, a fully restored Ruiska appears. Hugo immediately recognizes his grind cutters. No one dares to challenge Ruiska due to the lack of a bounty. When a stray dog Alita had rescued growls at Ruiska, he commended its courage before killing it. Despite his love for dogs, the hunter warrior Maktig declines to join the fight. Alita, smearing her face with the dog's blood, prepares to battle Ruiska. As Ruiska lunges with his grind cutters, Alita adeptly evades them. Ruiska then leaps into a hole in the floor, enticing Alita to pursue him underground. There, he discloses that this was his former home and where he plans to kill Alita. Alita tries to displace his arm with a kick, but Ruiska is stronger than before. Ruiska persistently assaults Alita with his new weapon, but she successfully dodges his attacks. Although Alita lands a kick that sends Ruiska staggering, she receives a cut on her leg. As Ruiska continues his attack, Alita seeks shelter behind a pillar. Ruiska reveals that Nova, the same individual shaping Alita's fate, rescued him. When Alita confronts him head-on, Ruiska dismembers her. Amidst this, Alita remembers a lesson from her martial arts instructor, Gelda, identifying Nova as the enemy. In a tense moment, Alita uses her last arm to strike Ruiska's eye. Just in time, Ido and Hugo show up, and Maktig sets his cyborg dogs on Ruiska, forcing him to retreat. Ido then takes Alita away, despite Shiran's mockery for trying to replace their daughter with Alita. Left with no other options, Ido connects Alita with the Urn Berserker body, which morphs to match Alita's self-image. Upon awakening in her new form, Alita expresses gratitude to Ido and is excited about her capabilities, including the ability to generate fire from her fingertip. Ido explains this as arc plasma generation, though he's unsure how Alita controls it. He reminds her that her body is just a vessel and its use is entirely up to her. The following day, Alita shows Hugo her new robotic body, which he admires. Noticing her heightened sensitivity, Hugo leans in for a kiss. Concurrently, Nova, inhabiting Vector's body, orders Ruiska to eliminate Alita, desiring her heart as she is the last weapon of the Urim Technarchy. Disliking Nova's control over him, Vector devises his own plan. He invites Hugo for a drink, praising his ambition. Hugo is determined to earn 1,000,000 credits for Vector to go to Zalem, but Vector is more interested in Alita. When Alita visits Hugo the next day, he admits that meeting her has made him reconsider his plans to leave for Zalem. Alita insists on helping Hugo achieve his dream, even offering her Urim heart as a source of funds. Hugo declines, not wanting Alita to sacrifice herself for him, and suggests she join Motorball instead. As Alita prepares for the game, Ido outfits her with safety gear, unaware that Vector has plotted her demise during the match. Meanwhile, Hugo confronts Tanji, who's busy stealing cyborg parts, and admits he wants to quit their illicit activities. Their discussion escalates into a fight when Zapan arrives and provokes Hugo. When Hugo asserts he's not a bounty target, Zapan frames him by killing Tanji's victim. In the ensuing chaos, Hugo retaliates with incendiary ammo and flees. Ido realizes that Alita's opponents in the Motorball game are not just competitors, but hunter warriors. Vector is pleased to see Alita in the arena, brought there by Hugo. Ido warns Alita of the lethal intentions of her adversaries before the game begins. Despite being outnumbered, Alita is determined to face them all. As the game starts, she grabs the ball and uses it to strike an opponent, causing a domino effect on the others. The crowd roars in approval as Alita skillfully uses the ball to take down her opponents, even decapitating one. The game turns into a battlefield, with Alita standing her ground against larger foes and emerging victorious. In the heat of battle, Hugo calls Alita for help against Zapan. She leaves the arena to assist him, outsmarting the hunter warriors who pursue her. When Zapan catches up to Hugo, Alita intervenes, only to discover Hugo is a wanted man. Hugo admits to dismantling cyborgs for parts, but denies any murders. Despite this revelation, Alita defends Hugo against Zapan, even claiming the kill to protect him. When Zapan stabs Hugo, Alita flees with his dying body, hoping to get help from Ido. However, Hugo warns her against it, confessing his past actions but assuring her of his love for her. They are found by Shirin, who misleads Vector about their whereabouts. When Alita emerges, she is holding Hugo's head. Zapan discovers that Alita is keeping Hugo alive by attaching his head to her body. When Zapan tries to seize Hugo, the Centurions misinterpret his actions as bounty theft, allowing Alita to retaliate and injure Zapan. The next day, with Shirin's assistance, Hugo's head is attached to a cyborg body. Ido reveals that the only way to Zalem is through becoming a Motorball champion, debunking Vector's claims. When Alita questions Ido's knowledge, he admits he was born in Zalem but was exiled due to his daughter's illness. Vector questions Shirin's decision to let Alita go, to which she responds by asserting her roles as a doctor and a mother, and ends her partnership with him. Despite Vector's attempts to lure her to Zalem, Shirin realizes her desires lie elsewhere. However, as she departs, she encounters an obstacle. Alita confronts Vector, deftly using Zapan's blade against the Centurions who demand her weapon. In Vector's office, she accuses him of deceiving Hugo. Vector defends himself, showing Shirin's dismembered body parts he's sending to Nova as proof of his promise. Suddenly, Gruishka attacks Alita, triggering a flashback of her battle against Zalem. A barrier had decimated her team on the tube connecting Zalem to Iron City. Gelda had saved her from falling, urging her to destroy Zalem. Alita recovers from Gruishka's attack, and despite a second strike, she manages to slice him in half. Vector pleads for mercy, but Alita calls for Nova, who commends her through Vector's body and decides not to stop her for now. Alita declares her independence from Nova, who hints at potential threats. Nova reveals they can locate Hugo and enjoys his immortality by witnessing others' demise. In anger, Alita eliminates Vector. Unexpectedly, Ido informs Alita of Hugo's pursuit and his journey to Zalem. Alita locates Hugo on the city-connecting tubes and attempts to halt him. Hugo contends that remaining in Iron City is fatal due to a bounty on him. Alita argues that Nova is luring Hugo exactly where he wants. To reach her, Hugo suggests their life will be a constant flight if she remains with him, but Alita insists they'll be united. As Hugo rethinks, Nova activates the barrier. Hugo is cut and falls down the tube. Alita tries to catch him, but his cyborg body disintegrates. Hugo expresses gratitude to Alita for her rescue efforts before plummeting, leaving Alita screaming in agony. Time has passed, and Alita is now competing in the Motorball Champions League. Even with an opportunity to ascend to Salem, she remains in mourning. As she enters the arena, she becomes the center of attention, including Nova's. Alita resolves to travel to Sky City to confront its ruler, seeking retribution for Hugo's demise. It appears Alita has also triumphed in this race, and she brandishes her sword towards Sky City, signaling her impending revenge on its ruler.